You're still watching? Okay, good. Because I'm about to tell you why the message you see on the screen might someday become a reality unless we do something to prevent it. First, let's talk about net neutrality. What is it? Net neutrality is a principle that internet service providers, companies like Comcast, Verizon, and T-Mobile, can't favor or block certain websites regardless of the source. This means that when you access the internet, you have access to the whole internet in all its weird and wonderful glory, from giants like Google to that new business's very first website. Right now, we do have a free and open internet, but that might change. Legislation is currently being introduced that will allow larger companies to pay ISPs to receive preferential treatment. The newly appointed FCC chairman.
Hey everyone, welcome to FabFit TV. I'm your host, Kim Barnes-Jefferson. I help women to break free of the diet mindset so they can live a life of balance, peace, and harmony. So tonight, I wanted to dive into it because here we are, we're 23 days into January, and, many of us woke up on January 1st with all these resolutions, all these new changes that we wanted to make, all these new habits we wanted to create. And I just wanted to check in and see where we are. And I know one of the, the biggest change that most people want to make is in their nutrition. Be it stop eating this, start eating that. Stop drinking this, start drinking that. And I always find it interesting because so many people will say, your wife eats, to my husband, your wife eats so healthy. Like, what do you eat? And he's like, I eat what she eats. And for the most part, we don't eat crazy things. Our house isn't filled with kale smoothies and tofu, and even when I was vegan for probably about a year, I never ate tofu. And so it is possible to eat healthy and clean and not eat food that you hate. And when you start eating food that you hate, that's when you immediately want to cheat on it. That's when you immediately want to be like, I'm done, I need to eat something, anything but this, so it's really easy to make healthy eating desirable, and it's funny how when you start to get the junk out of your body, the more your body will crave and ask you for healthy foods. It's the food industries have come up with amazing ways to, trick our bodies into wanting the crap and the junk. And there's I wish I could remember the name of the book. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll write myself a note. I think it's like Fat, Sugar, Salt, something like that. And it's literally a book about the food chemists and all the things that they do to make, potato chips taste more potato chip-y, so that you want them more. How do they make cheese puffs taste cheesier, so that you can't stop eating them? All that kind of good stuff. Or how do they make food when they're baking food in the grocery store? How do they make the bread just smell like the best bread ever? So I'm gonna write myself a note. I think it's called Fat, Sugar, Salt. And I'll put that in the show notes. So what I really wanted to talk about was, there's three things when it comes to eating healthy. First, just put it off the thing that I'm eating healthy. It's you're eating in a way that your body was designed to eat. If you, I would say, what did your grandmother eat? My grandmother is 94 years old. So 94 years ago, there was no such thing as half the foods that we have. So I want you to eat my grandmother did when she was in her 20s, where you weren't living off of all this processed food. And that's really the crux of it, is how do you get the junk out? How do you get the crap out of your diet? So it comes down to three things: moderation, variety, and balance. Just those three basic things. And what moderation is, it's about how do you avoid the highs and the lows. How do you say to yourself, I'm never going to have pizza, wine, potato chips, ice cream, whatever your favorite foods are. how are you ever going to say that? Because when you say that, as soon as you put that stake in the ground, you immediately want it. Immediately, you see Swedish fish dancing through the streets. Immediately everyone's inviting you to like wine tastings. Like all that happens because you told yourself, we're not doing this anymore. But instead, what if you flip the script on it and went with moderation? And moderation is my guiding principles. I don't do it all the time, but I do it some of the time. So, excuse me, what does that mean? I make room for fun foods. I believe in 80-20. I believe that, in any given week, 80% of my meals should be healthy and clean, where the 20% is wiggle room. So that gives me room for, having a glass of wine or two during the week. It gives me wiggle room for having pizza. It gives me wiggle room for having a fun coffee. All the things that you would think of, but it's not like I have one every night. It's not like I come home and have a glass of wine every night. I come home and I might have a glass of wine, but then I'm not going to have another one for like 1 or 2 weeks. And it's not because I don't like it, it's because it's not getting me towards my goal. It's moderation, So I take my balance. Some days I really want the wine, some days I really want to have a slice of pizza. So it's just a matter of what my choices are. Now I have some friends who believe in, they call them preemptive strikes, where every day they have a little something. So I have a friend who every day she has like one piece of bacon. I have another friend who like every day has like, a few sprinkles of cheese. Another friend will do, she'll have, I wrote it down. She'll have like one like square of chocolate. So it's those things that give you the sensation, but you don't go hog wild with it. And I always tell people, you need to know what foods are going to set you off. And so those are trigger foods. So for me, I can't have ice cream. Ice cream is a food that I can just eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And I haven't found my balance with that food just yet. So for now, I just focus on, I have it out, or I have it in a very measured portion, because it's really easy for me just to park myself down, finish a pint to a gallon, and not think twice about it. So think about, that's moderation. So it's like, picking your battles. Like, are you someone who like wants to have like 1 or 2 things, or are you someone who wants to have a little thing every day? And now, when you have that little thing every day, like that takes a lot of mindfulness around that. It's being mindful that this is every single day I get a little treat, so that I'm not having too much of it that causes an excess, but I'm having just enough that keeps me mentally sane, keeps my sanity. Moderation is self-trust. It's trusting that you aren't going to go overboard. It's trusting that, that one piece of bacon is all you need to not have a snowball effect. That one piece of bacon will keep you satisfied and keep you from, going and having hobos and bottles of wine and all that good stuff. And it also, the thing with moderation, it also is an exercise in self-trust, because it makes you make a decision. It makes you decide that you are okay with food. It makes you decide that food isn't going to be this like monster like looking over your head telling you that what you can and can't have, or dictate your behaviors. You're able to stand up when that monster rears its head and say no, or you know what, I know you want me to eat the whole thing, but I'm going to be happy with 2 or 3 bites, and have that trust in yourself that that's going to be okay. So many of you rely on willpower, and that will leave you broke on the side of the road. Where self-trust is you checking in with yourself and kind of doing like a body scan of saying, you know what, right now I feel like I could eat this and it not be an issue. Or right now I'm feeling emotional, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling lonely. and I could probably go house on this right now. So I'm gonna walk away. And that's where, you know, you have those intelligent conversations. And like literally this conversation is happening like within like 3.2 seconds in your head. You know, the mindfulness piece, it just makes you just more aware and more aware of what you're putting in your body. And you know, one of the things that I do with my clients to help them get this mindfulness is tracking your food. And when you track your food, you own it. You ate it, you own it. And there's no thinking about how I'm going to burn it off, or you know, playing this like kind of mental calculator game. It's just literally just sitting down and writing down the foods that you put into your body. And then, you know, if you can, you know, take it to the next level of, you know, how are you feeling? You know, were you actually hungry? Did you even remember eating it? You know, were you people pleasing? You know, I have a client who, her in-laws are big foodies. And, you know, whenever her and her husband go over to their house once or twice a week for dinner, and dinner starts with drinks, and then there's appetizers, and then there's the entree, and then the dessert. And for her, she's like, I gotta have it all, you know, I don't want to hurt their feelings. And you know, here's what I say to her: you have to find that mindfulness. You have to like be able to tune in with yourself and say, is this helping me move forward with my goals? And finding a way to just, you know, sit down with your in-laws and just say, hey, these are my goals, and, you know, I'd love to come over here for dinner, but I can't participate in every single course. You know, as you learn this, you start to eat based on what your body wants. And trust me, like once you kind of like, you know, it's kind of like detoxing from the crap, detoxing from the chemicals. Once you start to do that, your body will naturally like gravitate towards healthier foods. You know, I like crave salads. You know, I crave, you know, I'll crave like beets. You know, like I'll figure out things that I crave. I'll crave like salmon. And now that like, you know, I no longer eat a lot of the crud, those are the things like I crave the natural foods. And if you kind of went back to evolution, you know, our bodies told us what we needed to eat so that we would, you know, either feel healthier, feel satiated. And that's where we have to kind of take a step back and go to. Like so many times, you know, we've made so many amazing discoveries, don't get me wrong. But the food science has really kind of taken our biological trajectory. It's, you know, God knows what's going to happen 50 years from now, you know, for all the things that we thought were great now, what are we going to find out from, you know, this food science that has kind of, you know, polluted our bodies? You know, the biggest thing also, you know, once you get around that moderation is the variety. So many people say to me, I eat the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm like, can you? And I always ask, you know, why can you eat the same thing over, or why do you eat the same thing over and over again? And so many people are like, well, I know if I eat this, I'll be okay. I know if I eat this, I'll be able to stay the course. And it makes me scratch my head, because here it is, again, you're letting food have power over you. You're letting a freaking piece of chicken dictate you. Really? It's chicken. It can't dictate you. It's not your mom. So I always say to you, you know, when you have variety, again, going back to when we were hunters and gatherers, you know, I live in New England, so food would be scarce right now in the wintertime. So our bodies we'd be doing a lot of fasting, and we'd be able to just find whatever we could right now that was available to us in the wintertime, if we didn't have a chance to store up a lot of food over the summer and the fall. And then spring would come and different flowers would bloom, different berries would bloom, and I would eat different foods. Summer would come, same thing. And so what I tell people is that, you know, we live in kind of like a 24/7 lifestyle, where even though strawberries are typically a spring type food product, I can still get strawberries in the grocery store. But those strawberries are completely, man produced. They are like forced to bloom more than they're supposed to bloom. So I always say to people, eat with the season. Put that variety back in your body, because your body craves variety. So I want you to think about this with variety. If you do the same thing over and over and over again, your body knows, oh, she's having chicken, she's having broccoli, she's having brown rice. I know exactly how much I have to raise your body temperature to digest that. And I don't have to do it anymore. I can do it automatically. I can do it in my sleep. Now, if I throw in, say, a sweet potato, then it's, oh, wait, I gotta do something different. Say I throw in some beef, oh my gosh, there's something different. So every single time that I'm eating, I'm actually challenging my metabolism to actually fire up a little bit higher. So that I don't set it like a thermostat that is like, this is how it is. Because people are like, oh, my metabolism stalled. The first thing I always ask is always about the food. When was the last time you changed your diet? And, are you challenging it with different fruits, different vegetables, more fibrous vegetables, lower glycemic vegetables, high glycemic vegetables, just anything just to elicit some type of different reaction inside your body. And, when I think of variety, I want you to think about, I'm not saying every single meal has to be this crazy train new thing. For me, a lot of the variety that I have in my diet is really around, two ways to make this happen. One, you can create, 4 different menus, so that once a week you change what you're eating. So week 1 is menu 1, menu 2, menu 3, menu 4, and you just literally rotate through those menus where you're changing, you're subtly changing things. You might be changing the proteins one week, or you might be changing the vegetables one week. Just so you're keeping it very subtle, very simple. Because so many people are like, oh, changing my diet is so expensive. And I'm like, no, it doesn't have to be. You are the master of your destiny when it comes to that. And so a lot of times, for me, when I grocery shop, I don't buy everything at Whole Foods. There's only a handful of things I buy at Whole Foods. And when I see people with like a whole basket full of stuff at Whole Foods, I'm like, what do you got in there? Because I don't understand. I've never gotten a full cart at Whole Foods. It's always a little hand basket, so I don't really get it. So if you're that person, holla at me. I want to know what you buy. The second thing is, I'll go to Trader Joe's, I'll go to Costco, I'll buy things that I'll actively look for things on sale. I have a friend who's addicted to rice cauliflower, and like whenever it's on sale, she always texts me, or, for a long time, Trader Joe's is the only place you could buy it. And they would sell it pretty fast, so she would always text me, Kim, get your butt down to Trader Joe's, they got some rice cauliflower, or, do you want me to pick you up a few bags of it? But it's like, do I go to those stores every single week? No, but like I make a trip and I stock up on a few of my staples. I buy a lot of berries there. I buy a lot of my frozen vegetables there, so that way I always have a vegetable. But at the same time, I buy a lot of fresh vegetables too. With variety for me, so it's like you can change your menu once a week, or for me, every week when I go to the grocery store, I buy new things. So I'll buy 2 new proteins. I'll buy 2 new starches, 2 new fruits. I use, good fats usually last me a few months, but once that good fat is done, I'll introduce a new good fat. So if I bought, coconut oil and macadamia nut oil, whatever one went, the next time, say, I would buy olive oil. So I'm always, introducing something new into my diet. And with my variety, when I'm buying these 2 new things, what I'll do is, just kind of mix and match all the different things so that no 2 meal looks exactly the same. It might have a new fruit in it, but everything else stays the same. It might have a new vegetable in it, but everything else stays the same. So I keep it really simple because I like to get in and out of the kitchen. I'm not Martha Stewart, nor do I aspire to be Martha Stewart. It's just I want the basics when I'm in the kitchen. And the best thing I wanted to say is Pinterest. Pinterest is my best friend. I will Pinterest I go to the grocery store once a week. And so I'll Pinterest Saturday morning before I go to the grocery store and see what's what. I might repeat a couple of good recipes that I've had in the past. And I'll also think about things that are on sale that I might be buying that week. And I'll buy that and I'll find a recipe in Pinterest. And so far that has really helped me tremendously keep my variety up, but also keep me interested, keep me not bored. And if you go to Pinterest and you type in clean chicken recipe, a plethora of recipes will pop out for you. And again, as you put this variety in, you'll start to, again, push out the processed food, push out the junk, and your body will start to crave, healthier, wholesome foods. Using food is what helps you balance out your energy. So you'll be able to, kind of, if you're someone who's goes from starving to full, then this will really help you learn how to moderate that, help you be able to see what foods, especially food generally, will help you figure out what foods keep you hungry, what foods keep you satiated, what foods keep you just don't do anything for you. For me, rice cakes. I can have a rice cake, and I'm like, what's next? It doesn't fill the hump at all. And it's also, when you eat like that, it also really helps you to balance out your cravings, so that you're able to kind of stay on top of them, but also you're able to, again, you crave because your body's missing something. And so when you start to eat in balance, you start to eat in season, your body doesn't crave anything. And the last but not least is balance. Balance is like that word that people are like, is it? Can you? And I believe you can have balance with your food. We talked about the moderation, we talked about variety. When you have both of those in your corner, balance just slides in there. I always tell people, healthy living should be like you're just gliding through life, like a smooth plate glass, you're just gliding through. And it's where variety and moderation meet. When those two things are in line, that's when you achieve balance. And it's listening to your body and really recognizing the cues that your body is sending to you. And your body isn't going to be like, hey girl, I want you to go and get blah, 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 blah. It's like little subtle cues that your body says to you. And it's really taking the time to tune in to what your body has to say. And taking the most of it, because once we kind of get out of these kind of big swings, that's when the results come. And so many of you guys crave results. And the results come from taking these small, measured actions versus going from, I'm only going to eat, I've got no sugar for 21 days, or no meat for 21 days. It's really figuring out what that tipping point is, because for some people, meat doesn't bother them. For other people, meat makes them feel a little sluggish. So it's really being that conductor of your body, kind of I think of the orchestra conductor. So it's might have a little meat here, might have a little veggie here, might have a little extra fibrous protein there. So it's really figuring out what works for you, because that's where you get that balance. But it's figuring out so that you're not going from swaying from here to here to here way too quickly. So healthy eating, it's really a matter of finding, your moderation point. Are you someone who's an 80-20 person, or are you someone who every day has to have a little preemptive strike, if you will? And then having the mindfulness, having the self-trust in yourself to be able to say, I can make healthy decisions about my food and not have my food control me, not have a brownie bring me to my knees. And then once we kind of get, once we get those in balance, then we talk about variety. You know, how often are you introducing new foods into your diet? How often are you changing your menu? And then once those two get in line, variety and moderation, then we can talk about balance so that we're not always having these like big sweeping swings in our with our food. So that is all I have for you tonight. If you guys have any questions or comments, please contact me at squadleader@fabfitsquad.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Kim Jefferson Coach. Or you can also find me on Instagram, Kim Jefferson Coach. I will be back at the end of February. So I wrote down the date because I didn't remember. I'll be back on February 27th. And I will be talking about how do you take massive action. So at that point will be 2 months into 2018. How do you start to take massive action? How do you make the next 10 months totally kick some major tushy? So that will be on February 27th. Until then, I hope you have an amazing rest of January, and February kicks off to be a great month. And I will also, in the show notes, make sure that I put in that book, I believe it's called Fat, Sugar, Salt, and I think it was an NBC reporter who actually interviewed one of the food scientists, and he talks about how they invented the Dorito and how it became how much cheese it had in it, how much crunch it had in it. So it's a really interesting book, but it also really feeds into the psychology of our taste buds. It feels into psychology of how we like how some people like the crunch, some people like the cheese, and just find that perfect blend to make sure that we become addicted to it. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. I will talk